What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our show, the Hello Hair Pro podcast. My name is Todd. Happy Monday, or whatever day you're listening. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy. All right. So today we're talking about focus and time and where you should be spending your time and what things you should focus on. So we're going to run through these for the hair industry. So we're going to start with in school and work through, you finish school, and then we will get into starting a business or a shop and then growing that business. So we'll kind of break this down into like fours.
I like it. I'll try to stay focused.
We'll see. All right, so somebody's in school. They're in hair school, barbering, cosmetology, esthetician, whatever, aesthetics. What should those people be focused on? Where should their time be spent? The number one thing that pops into my mind is getting in the reps.
I was going to say learning. Yeah,
you're
practice,
learning.
Practice.
Just focus on that. I think that's probably the biggest one. I might, if you're in school, maybe you could loosely explore some options, like start to look around.
Yeah. We find it, I feel through a lot of the interviews we do, that is what the students are doing. They're focused on people's social media presence. Does the social media kind of represent?
You're talking about, just so everyone is clear, you're not talking about the students' social media. You're talking about
the business,
checking
the
out
salons.
Businesses that you might
kind of that. So they're focusing on their learning, working on their technical skills, like you said, getting in the reps, and then I guess kind of figuring out what does a salon or barbershop in a perfect world look like for them. And then what we hear is a lot of times when people find us, like, why did you pick to come to an interview at Hello? And it's usually social media, how it looks, the work we're putting out. It's diverse with all different types of hair that they see. I would check out a salon's website. I'd even, pick out your top couple salons or barbershops and go in and get a service. I mean, I say that often, but then you're doing your research ahead of time.
You don't even have to tell them who you are.
No, just go get something and just feel the vibe as a neutral party. Like, even better if they don't know who you are. And then I think from there you could kind of find your top places that you would want to ask for an interview. But that could be part of going through school, because it's your school takes a while. So you're just getting yourself prepped for what comes next when you're done.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think I guess if you're towards the end of school, maybe halfway or in the beginning, whatever, there's no like one size fits all. Right. So keep that in mind. But maybe get into somewhere to shadow just to get a feel for it. Maybe assist or offer to assist. Like, hey, I'll come in for free. I think that's underrated. Hold on, my mic is. I think that's underrated because everyone wants to be paid for everything. But if you're coming in just to give a hand or just, you're going to get a feel for it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a place has a front desk and you've never worked a front desk. Ask if you could shadow that just to see different aspects of this
we have
shop.
A lot of people that come in and shadow for a few hours, for a day, for all of the things that you just said, just to get a feel. And it's not paid, it's their time, because they're learning and taking in, they're meeting the staff. And again, when it comes back to finding a job, I said again, but I didn't say this yet, but I said it in a lot of other podcasts. It's so cool to be picked by the salon or the barbershop, but it's even more important that you're picking them back for the right reasons and not just because they said, hey, do you want to be on my team? Like, make sure that team is a team you want to actually join.
So I have in my notes is to think about what's important to you as a person and figure out sort of your core values. Because when you get to a point where you're finished with school and you're ready to go and enter the workforce as a stylist or hair pro, whatever you're doing, you're going to want to match up. You're going to want to find a place that like resonates with you.
Correct.
Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yeah, we had a school come in yesterday. They were in a barber program, local. And I touched on that also. Like, finding a place that fits you too. And it may not be your first, salon or barbershop, but you do want it to be in the first few so that you can dig your feet in and really start to build and grow a foundation. That's very important if you want this to be a career that pays you.
These people are in school, so let's not get too far ahead.
Yeah, well, we had a schooling yesterday, so I was talking to them about that.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Oh, look, a bird. I don't know.
You were like, I'll try to pay attention.
I am. I'm focused, and I was talking about a school that was in yesterday. That's the exact information I gave them, which is what you just said. Find a salon or barbershop that resonates with you. But it may not be...
Didn't you start just talking about pay and stuff?
If you want to get paid in this industry, you need to find a salon or barbershop and stick with it.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know where you were going with that. I'm like, these people are in school. They're not...
Yeah, if you're looking for a salon or barbershop, you need to find one that you just said resonates with you. Now, if that's not the first one, hopefully it's the first one or two that you find. That's all I was saying. I'm not getting too far ahead.
That makes sense.
So that you can build.
I'm allowed to ask questions.
I think you were just spacing out.
No. Highly focused. Unlike some people we know. Yourself.
I at least was able to repeat what I said. So that meant I was paying attention to myself.
Good job. I don't have a clap. Do we have a clap here? We might have some clapping. Applause.
Nice.
There you go. That's for you, Jen.
Proud of myself.
All right.
Whew.
Anyways, anything else that you should be focused on while you're in school? I think the biggest thing to me, is just not underestimating the value of what you're doing and maximizing that. Too many people, I think, brush off the whole school experience. They're like, they just teach you to take a test. Not true. Where I went to school, they didn't just teach, they focus, yes, on that because they have to. That's the school's job.
Right.
But they also focus on technique. And if you put in the time and the reps and you actually practice things when you get done with school, you're going to be less likely to be fumbling around with your comb, trying to hold your scissors the right way. Those are things that you should practice while you're in school. And I think because when I went to school, I know certain people brushed that off. They were like, I don't fucking need this. I don't care. I'm like, okay, you're either going to
take a lot longer when you get out.
Well, yeah. And I'd rather fumble around with this stuff now than in front of clients later on down the road.
Especially
not that you're never going to make a mistake, but the more reps you can get in, and that's the time. That's the time for that stuff.
I think, too, when you're in school, there's definitely downtime, and that's on you to how you want to utilize your downtime. If it's sitting there shooting the shit and having a coffee, well, you could find a teacher in there to help mentor you and work on something that maybe you're not getting a lot of practice of. We have people that come in sometimes and highlights might have been the last thing, or foiling that they learned. Well, then any downtime you have, if you know that you're almost done with school and you didn't get a lot of foils, you should find a mannequin, find a teacher, and have them work on foiling with you. That's on you to put in to action and find someone to help you. Don't just sit around and shoot the shit. You don't have time for that. You got to get better at what you're doing. So when you get in the real world, you're good at it. Decent.
You're also paying to be there.
Yeah,
so
take advantage of everything you can. Yeah.
So at my school, and if your school doesn't have this, I'm guessing they do somewhere. And if they don't, just freaking create it, right? But we had I don't know if it was daily work or whatever, but there was a list of things. There were maybe 8 to 12 things that were on the wall. And it was practice the razor strokes, practice shear over comb, practice whatever. You know what I mean? So you had a list. And if you had downtime, go to the list. Mm-hmm. Pick one. Do that.
Yeah. Often,
when
always,
you're done,
keep going.
Pick something else.
Yeah.
Or if you struggled, keep doing it.
Do it again.
So I think getting in those reps and not stressing too much about everything else that's the best use of your school time.
Yeah, you're there to learn.
So what are some things people can avoid while they're in school? I have two things. One of them's kind of funny, but worrying about a logo from the dude on Instagram. That's do you need a logo for your barber business? Shut up. It's so annoying. You do not need a logo. Do not waste your time or money worrying about a logo. It's silly.
Yeah.
You're never going to use that. You're just going to post that on your Instagram and then...
Avoid stressing about what you're going to name your Instagram page. Just name it something, get some work out.
Yeah, who cares?
You can change that if you need to.
I think a big one, too, is worrying about deciding your entire future. Like I'm going to go here, then in 3 years I'm going to do this, and then after that I'm going to do this. And I've heard a lot of people talk that way, and I'm like, you haven't even entered the workforce. You're not even licensed, but you're assuming that you're going to accomplish all these things, which it's great to have a plan, but I don't think while you're in school that it needs to be that detailed. It just seems stressful.
I would agree.
Anything else to avoid before we move on?
Avoid sitting around and not taking advantage of all of the things that are offered to you while you're in school.
So someone's just finished school. Let's assume they have their license. They're done with all. They're done with all the state stuff.
They're ready to go.
They're ready to go. What should they focus on? Where's their time best spent? What do you got? I'm putting you on the spot because
if you haven't found that salon or barbershop yet, you need to start interviewing at those. You also, I would go back to kind of, if you didn't do that in your school time, go get a service at your top 3 places that you think you want to work and really take in what you see and chat it up and see how, would you want to be a client there? Would you want to work there? Or does that even seem interesting once you get inside? Because I think it's important to follow, kind of just like I said with school, it's important to follow the Instagram, make sure the vibe of the salon from a social standpoint looks great, but don't be deceived, because now if you go in and get that service and you're let down, it's just not on your list anymore. That's totally fine.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take it off. So I think you're interviewing, you're going in, you're checking it out. Hopefully you're shadowing, you're getting a service. You're really trying to find the salon that resonates with you. You should still be technically working. So meaning
technical growth is literally on my list.
Is it? Okay.
I don't know why I used the word literally there, because it doesn't need to be said.
That was great. So friends and
who's
family.
adding words now?
I love it. Friends and family, do their hair, do haircuts, do foils, do single process retouches. Or if you're a barber, get all the haircuts in. That's really important. You don't want time to go by and you haven't done any work. And if you don't have friends and family to work on, mannequin.
Yeah, okay. So I have 2, and I think they might be, I can hear kids in the background, which means our audience can too. So
they're cute.
They're kids. They are cute. So here are 2 that I don't think that people are expecting that I'm going to say. Number 1 is marketing. Start to learn how to market. Start to learn how to set yourself apart, because if you wait, you're setting yourself back. Don't get to a salon, get hired, and then go, now what?
Right.
And sit there. Or don't be the person that's like, I have to go to this place because they have so many walk-ins. Create your own walk-ins. Like, don't be that person. You're relying on other people when you could be being proactive.
Yeah.
Or you could be taking that proactive approach to learn how to market, to ensure that you can maximize your success. Because even if you get to a place that's like flooded with walk-ins, if you don't stand out or know how to market yourself, you're not going to get any repeat clients. And then you're not going to...
Non-memorable.
I don't know if that's a word, but maybe. So the other thing that I have that I think might surprise people a little bit is that I would recommend, if it's an interest of yours to ever have a business, now would be the time to start to learn about that stuff.
Agreed.
I think that people believe, and I don't think, I've talked to a lot of people that think that there's going to be some sort of magic carryover from being good at hair and being good at business. And those things are like wildly different skill sets.
Yeah.
You don't need, like, there are certain things that just don't carry over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you can do a balayage or a foil or whatever service, it has like no impact other than people might be looking for that service.
Right.
But it's not going to help you with like leadership. Mm-hmm. It's not going to help you with learning how to teach that if you have a business where you have employees that need your help in the future. So you've got to put some time in to learning about business separately. And if you think, well, that's too much, I'm growing a clientele and this and that, then you probably shouldn't have a business.
Correct.
Because that stuff never ends. Mm-hmm. You have to do the technical stuff and the business stuff as an owner.
Yes, you have to do all of this stuff.
Right. So I hear people talk about it a lot, and yeah, it's something I get passionate about because I hear people all the time that are like, well, when I'm really good at hair in like 2 to 3 years, I'm going to open my own place. I'm like, I don't know if you're going to be really good in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. If you're really good at hair, you need to be really good at running that business too when you open it.
Right. You're going to fail.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're doing.
And all you're focusing on is doing the hair. That's one part of it.
And even 2 to 3 years, you're not that great at hair. Like, let's get real, you know? Mm-hmm. So when you're finishing up school, it would be a good time to, I don't know, I'm not saying go to business school, but get a book. Yeah. Go online. You can learn a lot of stuff from YouTube. Listen to a podcast. Tell your business, tell whatever business that hired you, like, hey, I would love to learn about the behind the scenes stuff here. Is that something that you would offer?
Right.
And if they say no, that's probably not a good fit. If they think they have like the secret sauce, you know?
Anyone who has a secret sauce generally wants to share it if they really are in the right mindset. I don't believe in secret sauce. I'll tell you everything.
Yeah. Every idea it's been explored. I mean, come on.
I'll tell you the good and the bad too. The hardships and the good stuff, because that's part of it.
So just finish school. Anything else you would tell people to do? And we can dive into some avoids, because I have a little list of avoids.
I would also recommend, so you've been in school, which I'm sure the standards of how you present yourself in school are not very high. So realize now you're out of school and you're coming into the hair pro industry. So make sure you're dressing the part, putting yourself together, like doing your hair, and just whatever the vibe is you want to bring, like measure up to that standard.
It's a good point.
Yeah, I think it's important.
It's very important because it's part of it. It's part of the industry.
Yeah.
You know, people don't want to see, like I wear hats a lot, but like a stylist behind the chair, like they probably don't want to see you in a hat every day, every time they come in, a winter hat, or they want to see your hair. It's an inspiration to them. They want to, I don't know, they want to see that you care too.
Right.
And sure. I'll tell you what, the business owners, they want to see that you care also.
Yeah.
So yeah, show up ready to go.
Yeah.
A couple things to avoid. So here's the thing. You just finished school. You're impressionable. Social media gurus, steer clear. Like,
that's a good one.
Look, you don't need a million different things. What you need to do is sort of start to focus. I'm not saying don't try stuff. I'll get into that in a second too. But social media gurus, you don't need all that stuff. Mm-hmm. If you're at a good business with leadership, you don't need to join for $5 a month somebody's Instagram to show you how to market yourself.
Agreed. I think
like get help from the owners of the business or the management layer, whoever's there, whoever you're assisting in some salons.
Start forming a real relationship. With an assistant,
right. Actual relationships, not just paying, $5 or $10 to be part of this super secret like group.
I think on that same point, because there's so many that will show you 10 different ways to foil and whatever else. If you are coming out of school,
this is next on my list.
Is it? And
advanced techniques.
Yeah, because you need to get good at one. Like foil one way and get really good at it, get efficient at it, like you can kill it. Then you can start advancing different techniques and stuff like that. But in the beginning, you're just going to be all over the place. It's going to confuse you. And if nothing else, the client's going to sit down and you're going to start foiling one way and then be like, what am I doing? Like, it's not going to actually help you in the beginning. It's really going to set you back.
Yeah.
I even tell people like, pick a foil comb, stick with that for a while. Don't even try it. Like there's 7 different foils that you could use. No, you got to find one and you just stick with that for now, because otherwise, even the weight of the foil can trip you up. Like you just stick with one way, get really good at that, and then play around.
So when I was in barbering school, and this goes against what you just said, but it also helps what you just said if people pay attention. What I did was I went out, I talked to a few people, and then I ordered like a handful of combs.
Yeah.
And then I tried them. Say I had like 4. I tried them and I was like, all right, this is my comb. And then I ordered a couple of those and I stuck with those and I still use them today.
I think, and to what you're saying, like you do need to try a few, but then you've got to pick one.
Right.
And same thing. Like
don't
I have
keep trying every day. You've got to commit to something.
I know the weight of the combs I like, the length of them. All of my combs are pretty much exactly similar. I just, I picked and that's what I stick with.
Pretty much exactly.
Pretty much exactly.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, I just made it a
So
thing.
I see these like advanced techniques because people on social media want to take something that's been done and make it more difficult so that you have to give them $5 to teach you how to do it. But really what they want to do is overcomplicate things because it I don't know, there's just like a static, like an ego thing that happens, right? And I think there's a time and place. Try that stuff out on a mannequin or your friend or whatever outside of work hours, or if you have, we have education time where people can bring in models. If you want to mess around with stuff, go for it. I'm not anti. I'm just saying, like, all the advanced techniques, unless you have your foundation built,
right? They
don't matter.
Agreed.
You don't need them, and you're just wasting your time because you're trying to learn something that might not even come off of a foundational skill that you're going to use in the future.
Agreed.
So get your foundation set first and then try to layer on. One of the other things I had was comparison. So you come out of school and it's like, you might be good at hair. You're probably not. So don't compare to others. Just compare yourself to yourself. Try to get better. And again, it comes back to those reps and working on the foundation stuff, I think.
Absolutely. I think that's a good one.
Thanks. I thought it was a good one too. That's why I said it. The other thing I had here was avoid shadowing at 200 different shops.
Yes.
So I saw that recently as a piece of advice that somebody was like, I forget where it was, but they were like, we recommend shadowing at as many places as you can and assisting at as many places as you can to find the right fit.
No, that's
false.
Bad advice.
That's backwards.
Yeah.
What you should do is write yourself out a mission, write yourself out a vision, which would be where you see yourself in the future, and then come up with your core values as a person, as your own person that's going to be behind the chair. What's important to you? Is integrity important to you? Is honesty important to you? Is pride in your work important to you? And then go out and find those businesses. You'd be a good fit for us. Because I just said those off the top of their, and they come from us. But like, you don't need to go to waste a year of time just bouncing around. Right. If you could focus. So I think it's trash advice. I'm sorry if it offended anyone, but I'm not even sorry. It's trash advice. Stop telling people to do that.
Yeah.
All right. We're moving on to, you're starting a shop. So that's a big jump, right?
Yep.
That might not even be linear there, but you're starting a business. What should you do? The first thing I have on my list is, I don't have a very long list, is to find a mentor.
That's a good one.
You're going to need someone that's been there, done it to help you, because this is what it does. I'm not saying you can't figure it out on your own. I'm saying that what a mentor does is it affords you access to speed. It's going to accelerate you. Because what happens when you make a mistake? You learn from it, right?
Yep.
Well, if someone else that's ahead of you has already made 297,000 mistakes,
you can avoid that mistake.
Yeah, they can guide you.
Yes.
So, I don't know if a lot of people are taking that approach with mentorship or coaching or whatever,
it's
but
important.
It buys you speed. It gets you speed. I actually had a past mentor that said the whole point of mentorship was to buy speed.
Yeah. It's a good way.
That's what you're purchasing.
Yep.
You work with a mentor, and this doesn't even need to be a paid. Maybe you have a family member that knows about business that's like, come on, I'll show you.
Yeah, or even in New Hampshire, they have, you work
every
with them.
State.
The small business, I forget what else they're called, but
it's like the SBDC. I forget.
It's free, and you can just talk to people like that. Like, there's so much out there to
Small
help
Business
you.
Development Center.
Yeah, I think that is what it's called.
It's in all 50 states.
Okay.
Have it.
So you have access to that. Like, just you need access to some stuff so that it keeps you organized, on point, like moving in the right direction. And that would afford you speed to get your business up and running and hopefully profitable quicker than others.
Yeah, for sure. That's the first thing I would strongly recommend if you're even thinking about starting a business. Find a mentor. Like I said earlier, if you work at a place that is open and will help you, even when you're just starting out.
Right.
I would be happy to sit down with any of my staff from a place of integrity and honesty and teach them anything I know about business.
Same.
I would never view it as, well, if I show this person this stuff, they might leave.
Yeah, if someone's going to leave, they're already leaving.
Well, people leave, man.
Yeah,
you can't.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, you can't run. Again, if that's your fear, maybe consider not having a business.
Correct.
Because people are going to leave. There are going to be times where you get salty about it for a whole variety of reasons that I can't even express them to you. Sometimes it's the way the person left. Sometimes it's what they said when they left. Sometimes it's they told you one thing and did another. Sometimes it's you invested into something for someone and then they left the next day or whatever. Right. Who cares? That stuff, I promise you, is going to happen. So if you know it's going to happen, you'll get over it a lot quicker, you know? And if you're anyone that's left our salon, no hard feelings. I hope you're kicking ass.
Yeah.
I do not care. It doesn't affect you in the way that you think it's going to affect you.
I would agree.
What else should people be doing? So you're starting a business. We talked a little bit about marketing earlier. At this point, you should be doubling down.
Yep.
You should be creating your foundations. So that will be, I'm adding this to my notes because it's not in there. That's your mission, your vision, your core values. Mm-hmm. So that's your foundations. And then from there, what I would highly recommend is before you need it, assemble your team.
Yep.
You need a lawyer. You need an accountant. You're going to need a bank. You're going to need probably a commercial realtor. What am I missing? A lot.
Yeah. And I was going to touch on this because you said bank, but
yeah,
you're going to need a bank, but you need to go into that bank and they have a small business development person in charge in that bank, and you need to make a connection with them because that person's going to help you also stay on course.
Yes.
You happened to just, when we were starting, you were in the bank for something for the business and someone was in there, like, oh, let me just chat with you. And she was a wealth of knowledge. Like I hadn't never even realized that was a thing. So it's not that you just need a bank. In your bank they have a division that's for small businesses and you need to meet with them.
I will tell you this piece of advice as well. Care. So if you care, people are more likely to help you. Mm-hmm. They're more likely to go further. And what I mean by care is when I met with the woman at the bank, I forget the title, but it was like business, whatever, small business, whatever. And so she was like, well, when you put together your like mission and statement and all those things, come back in. And I was like, oh, I can just email it to you. I have it. And she was like, oh, all right, let's do the next steps. Mm-hmm. Like she recognized that by putting in, I didn't wait for someone to tell me.
Right.
Again, if you need someone to tell you, that would be your mentor or a book you read or whatever.
But by having that, I feel she went above and beyond to help us in some different ways because she was like, oh, you're legit.
Yes. And so I'm not at the risk of sounding a little like a jerk. If you have a mission and vision and like a business plan, you're ahead of a lot of people.
Yes.
A lot of people start with like a fucking logo.
Yeah.
And they're like, I have a logo.
Paint colors.
Or they have like a 3D rendering of what the like business is going to look like. Who cares? What are you doing? Why would you waste your time and money on that stuff?
Your decorations are not what's important here.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love to decorate, so don't get me wrong, but that is not what's going to make you a profitable business.
Yeah, here's what my stations are going to look like. Obviously, you need to decide that stuff, but when you're at the initial stages, you don't need that.
To develop a business.
Right. Some things do you have anything else for starting?
No, I think that's good.
All right, cool. So some things to avoid. I kept this list real short because again, we help people through this stuff. We do some mentoring and we could get we have one person that's like, what, a year, 2 years, a year? I don't even know how long, but we're still working through stuff because that's how much stuff there is out there. So number one, avoid assuming you know everything. You don't.
Yeah, never will.
You're not going to. And here is the truth to it. And here's a little bit of relief. You don't need to.
Correct.
Because when it comes to the financial stuff, you've got your accountant. Meet with them and have them explain like the basics. What am I looking at when I look at these statements?
Yeah, you still need to understand.
What do I need to forecast? what do I need for budgeting? Like that stuff, they'll help you figure that stuff out. And then all the details, let them do. Your lawyer, if something comes up, you should be able to rely on your lawyer. You're not going to learn the entire law.
Right.
It's ridiculous, right? So you don't need to know everything, which is great because you never will.
Right.
So get it out of your head. And the next thing, the only other thing I had on the avoid list is avoid putting off asking for help. I know a lot of people struggle with that. The longer you put it off, the more mistakes that you're going to go through that you don't need to.
I would agree.
You're not going to have an easy time starting a business. I'm not talking about like renting a chair somewhere and just setting yourself up.
Right.
Even that people struggle with. Wildly. It blows my mind. But like I'm talking about starting an actual business that you expect profit from, a return on your investment. There's risk. There's reward. It's growth. You're creating opportunities for other people. Like you're going to need help.
Absolutely.
So don't put it off. Don't be like, oh, I'll wait until I hit that. No, start now because you're going to miss something that's going to maybe put that, whatever that milestone or that mark is, that you're like, well, when I hit this, then I'll ask for help with this.
Right. You need the help before
you might not hit that for 2 years because you're not asking for help.
Right.
You could hit that next month maybe.
Yep.
If you ask for help. But a lot of people don't. They're like, well, I'll figure this first part out on my own. Don't.
I think
there's no need to.
The one thing I would say avoid, which is pretty much coinciding with what you just said, but I want to say it a little differently, is I think a lot of people, and I hear this for anything in life, I'll say to them, like, why didn't you make that phone call? Like whatever their plan is. And they're like, well, I didn't know what to say. So make the phone calls, put your team together. And if you don't know what to say when that accountant picks up, exactly what Todd just said, I need help. You don't have to formulate these really intelligent conversations. You don't have to try to sound smarter than you are. You just need to get on the phone with these people that will build your team and make your business stronger and just say, I need help with my business. Then you stop talking and they'll figure out with what questions they have because they know what they need for information and they'll help you get where you need to be. So don't be so scared to make the first phone call or go into that bank and talk to the small business development person because you don't know what to say. You're just going to say, I need help. And they're going to take it from there.
And they're going to say, well, what are you doing?
Yeah. They'll
starting a business. Great.
Right.
What
they'll
business?
Pull you through all that. Don't worry about anything else, but you've got to meet with those people and you just got to get those relationships started. Don't worry about what you have to say. That's not important. It's just getting the information and building the team.
Amen. I like it.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. So that's starting a business. How about growing a business? So now you're a little bit in, right? This is where we are.
Yeah.
We're growing.
Yes.
And it's fun. Getting through that initial phase and when you launch a business, you're not like, so we're going on year 3.
We're in it.
We still consider ourselves like a young baby business.
Oh, yeah.
We both have owned businesses in the past that were just about 10 years and 10 years. That's when you're established. You're not really established at a couple years.
No.
Because there's still so much volatility. There's so many moving parts. And I'm not saying it gets easier because it does get more complex. Now you're adding layers. Maybe you're adding a management layer to grow. Every business is going to be different. Maybe you're adding team members, whatever, right? So growing a business, the number one thing is the same as the number one thing for starting a business, which is a mentor. You need to continue to have that help. Now, at this point, you might need a different mentor.
Right.
And that is something that people should recognize too, because generally the people that help you get from 1 to 10 aren't the same people that help you get from 10 to 100,
right,
etc. So
that's true. I love that.
Yeah, it's with staff. It's with your mentorship. It could be with a business partner.
Yeah.
It's just how life works, right? Certain people come into your life. It's a temporary thing, even if it's 10 years.
Yeah.
You had a business partner for 10 years.
I did.
You wanted to grow beyond what they wanted.
Correct. Which meant going in different
which
directions.
meant going in different directions and finding a new business partner that ended up being me.
Right.
So, and there's nothing wrong with that past. I mean, there's some BS, but you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with having that and going your separate ways eventually.
Yeah, because my vision changed
because you've established your team and you have a lawyer and you've worked that stuff out. You should have an exit strategy too. I forgot to say that, but have something in there. Go ahead. What were you going to say? I was so rude. I just cut you off.
I think I cut you off.
Well,
what you were saying is it just, my vision had changed for what I wanted to see owning a salon in my future. That wasn't the same salon I saw when I was, a few years in owning it. And as that started to change, and my partner at the time and I, just our visions were very different. And it just came to a conversation that they're just not going to align. And that was okay with me. I wouldn't say it was probably mutual, but it was what it was. I couldn't keep moving on or grow with that partner. And it was very apparent to me.
Yeah, man.
So on to the next salon, which was restarting. And here we are 3 years in and a new partner and the vision and moving in the direction that makes me feel happy running this business with this leadership that we offer. But that just happens.
Yeah, agreed. I think another thing that just popped into my mind for like growing a business is strap in for the ride.
Sure.
Like you would be surprised where the business pulls you and the things that you discover and the changes that you make along the way.
Yeah.
Like our business model started out one way, ended up another way, and now is sort of in a fine-tuning phase where I'm even hesitant to say fine-tuning because that sounds final. It's not final. I guarantee you we will make more changes in the future.
Just for today, yeah.
Right.
We're always like innovating, pivoting, and depending on what comes our way. But right now, we're fine-tuning where we are right now.
Exactly. Growing a business, you're going to want to grow people to replace you.
Yes.
So when you start out, you are the cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
You are the person taking the phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
You are whatever, everything. You're going to want to find things or people to replace that. So,
because then your time can be best suited doing other things in your business.
Exactly. And it doesn't need to be like, you don't have to hire a cleaning company. Maybe you hold on to that for a bit, but that's an easy one, right? You could probably find a cleaning company for not that much money that frees you up to then do other things. Mm-hmm. Like for us, maybe it's, and again, this is a snapshot. So this would be your snapshot. For you, it might be if you're in year one and you're like, you know what, I can stretch, I can afford the cleaner so I don't have to do it. And then I can sit down and work on these marketing emails or whatever. For someone else, it might be like, I can afford a cleaner now. I can have more time with my kids and go to their sporting events. Maybe it's not a person. Maybe it's like, I'm going to upgrade my software. I'm going to pay more for that, but it's going to do a lot more and I can leverage it because it's more powerful of a solution. So I have more free time, or I don't need a person taking these bookings because they just come in. Right? It's automatic. But you want to grow people to replace you and the things that you're doing. So for example, at our salon, every salon says this, but education is a big part of our culture. And we're at the point where there are some people that have stepped up that are helping people that are onboarding, people that are newer to the industry, or people that are just new to us.
Right.
And that's a cool place to be. Because they're buying into the culture and they're teaching it and passing down what we've taught to them.
Yeah, some of them take over in the middle of me teaching. Like, can I show her this? And I'm like,
right, which is awesome.
I'd love to step back. I'll just be over here. I'm going to take a sip of my water.
Yeah, let me know if you need anything.
Yeah.
I'll be over here working on this. Or maybe you just oversee it or whatever. I know you love educating, so it's something that's like, it's in your blood. So you're going to do that.
But it's a beautiful thing to watch the people that can come in and take over and do it.
Well, yeah, because
if not better,
we've
awesome.
Created opportunities for them, but also raise them up so that there's a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a confidence. Like they know that we have their back. So they know that. So they feel like safe to jump in and help out. And they know like, if I mess something up, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
We can talk it out. We can fix it. The other thing I had, so if you're growing a business, you really need to be crystal clear on your foundation. You need to look at yourself as like the CEO or as whatever. Assign yourself some cool term, that was the last podcast we just recorded.
Yes, I'm going to be the director of something.
Yeah. So, assign yourself a director of the salon or whatever. Now, you're the person
New business cards coming soon.
Yeah, nice. So you're the person, though, that is steering the ship.
Yes.
So if you're not crystal clear on the mission and the vision, the direction, the values that are important to the company, no one else is going to be.
Agreed.
They're not just going to know.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do that, and you have to drive that into people or drive that home with people, whatever the term is, all the time, forever. It never ends. Unless you get to a point where you can hire someone else to do that for you.
Right.
Growing a business. Anything else before we do the avoids? I just have a few.
No, I think that was it. I guess if anything, also work on your mindset because like you were saying.
That's a good one. So like personal development.
Yeah, I think it's really important because you will grow people and they will leave and you may feel salty, but here's the thing at the end of the day, don't let it ruin or change your course of path. Keep doing it. If you can do it once, you can do it again.
Right.
And you're going to have to keep doing it. That's part of running a business. And that's how you grow as a leader. You become better at it. You might even start becoming more aware and offering stuff like Todd said and giving them some business development so that they want to stay on your team because there's different offerings that maybe you didn't have before. But if you don't get your mindset in check and keep an awareness like in your business and really helping the personal development of each individual on your team, like that would be a big miss. And that's part of when you really are growing, you got to get a handle on.
I love it. So I don't have anything else as far as that. So perfect. I had a few avoids.
Let's hear
so you're
them.
growing a
business.
You're growing a business. Avoid complacency at all costs. I think these sort of, two of these sort of tie in. I had stubbornness. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
What did I just say?
Stubbornness.
You are with me.
I'm focused.
So hyper, like a laser.
Yep.
Look, what works now might work for a little bit for you, but it's probably going to run its course.
Mm-hmm.
And that is with everything. That's like your hiring process. Why would the hiring process change? The business hasn't changed because generations change.
Right.
Because younger groups of people want different things because they're growing up with different concerns.
Yes. And you need to know that.
Their parents had and offered different things than our parents had and offered. And the next generation under there is going to want something different. So you have to constantly develop your hiring practices, for example, your marketing. When you bring on younger generations, now you're marketing to younger generations. Mm-hmm. You probably have, what do they say, like a decade below you, your decade, and a decade above you, something like that. So you've got a 30-year mark. What happens at year 10 when you're at the bottom of your marketing plan, but your staff is younger? Your marketing needs to adapt to reflect that. So if you become complacent and just do the same thing over and over again, you will time yourself out. Correct. I promise you. It will happen 100% of the time to all businesses. Stubbornness. That's going to be well, I know they said that, but I'm going to be different. No, you're not. Don't do that to yourself. If you think for a half of a second the largest companies in the world aren't constantly evolving and changing their processes and pivoting, then I got no hope for you.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You're wrong. And again, assuming what's worked is going to continue to work is like one of the fastest ways to find yourself one day going, wow, I've got no staff and no clients.
Yeah. And now what do you do?
I was the top business for 90 years.
Right.
Not 90, but we got a sniffly little buddy over there, huh?
We do. We even have we have a playbook, right? And we talk about this often. It's a living document. It's always changing.
Every
it's
6 months,
growing.
I actually have to update it.
Yeah, because again, there are different needs of people that we hire, or different things that the business needs, or there's a change that we've made in the business to grow it and to stay on top of the ever-changing industry. So that needs to reflect in different aspects of our business, and it needs to be reflected often.
Yeah, something like a playbook. I look at ours and go through it line by line every 6 months or so. But I make notes for stuff because things change sometimes daily. You just never know. Like, that's why I said earlier, strap in for the ride, because it's really difficult to predict exact circumstances. Like, you just don't know. Just like with hair. Like you have this plan in your head when someone comes in and they want to lighten their hair, but you don't know how light you're going to be able to get it. Mm-hmm. It's always funny to me when people, this little side note, when people worry about like a glaze.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm like, you haven't lightened the hair yet. Why would you don't even know where you're going to get. So how can you formulate a glaze? It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't even do color.
I know. So true.
All right. So I'll get off my soapbox there. But
thanks.
The last thing I had, because I don't want this to go on forever, was playing monkey see, monkey do.
That's a good one.
That is another fast track. Yeah. Avoid. That's another fast track to nothingness, or just having this sort of lackluster business. If you follow somebody else, you will only ever be their second place. Mm-hmm. Like, I guess you can beat them if they're complacent and then you pass them.
Yeah. But it's still,
if you're doing what they're doing and they're complacent, odds are you are going to be as well. So, don't do the whole monkey see, monkey do. Some stuff is worth taking. Good artists borrow, great artists steal. Mm-hmm. I believe in that 100%. You don't have to recreate the wheel every day.
Right.
But there are going to be things. So don't just don't do
that.
Stay away from that. I guess that's it. I guess that's all I had. You have anything else?
No, I think those were great.
Yeah, man. That's it. If you need help, reach out.
Yeah. We're here for you.
We are here from you.
And for some people, it's just a phone call to get them back on track, or get them feeling good about what they're doing, or get them out of a rut. Not all of our peeps or hair pros that we mentor are long-term. Some are. Some have been.
Some aren't even hair pros.
Yeah, that too. Sometimes you just need a mentor for a quick, brief thing and you're ready to go. It just depends. So you can create your own wheel with that one. But we're here for whatever it is looks like for you.
All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Have a great day.
That's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing day. Get some work done, will ya? Just kidding. Bye.